And start with some really gentle neck stretches. So I'll invite you to tuck the chin towards the chest. And on your next exhale, drop the shoulders down away from the ears. And maybe that means you have another tiny little bit of space, a few millimeters to tuck even more. But we're not trying to force anything. And if the breath becomes belabored or difficult, then you've gone a little bit too far and just come out of it. You might look towards the navel or towards the chest. And you might roll the upper back as well. So you might kind of curl like a little snail. And then we'll come back to our nice neutral position and drop one ear to one shoulder. And then drop that shoulder away from the ear. And we might hang out here. This might feel great. Or stretch the opposite arm away from the body. That can intensify the stretch if that feels good to you today. Or you might put the same side hand resting gently on top of the head. Again, making sure that you're breathing nice and easy. And if the breathing becomes belabored or if it feels uncomfortable, you're probably just in it a bit too far. Ease out of it. Keep it easy. Keep it gentle. And then if the hand's on top of the head, you can let that go and we'll rotate so that the nose points down towards the pocket so that you feel the stretch on the outside back of the neck. Maybe like you're smelling your armpit. Find the breath here. Let the shoulders drop away from the ears. Gently roll the chin back to the chest. And then opposite ear to the opposite shoulder. Dropping that shoulder away. Finding some ease here. And if you like, stretching the opposite hand away to intensify the stretch if that feels good in your body. You might stay here or put the same side hand on top of the head, just gently finding the breath, dropping the shoulders. And if the hand's on the head, you can let that go. And on the next exhale, we'll roll the nose towards the pocket, feeling the stretch move to that outer back side of the neck. As if you're smelling the armpit, dropping the shoulders away. It might feel different on this side. You might have a side that is more or less flexible, and that's fine. We'll just notice that and say, we're not as symmetric as perhaps we like to think, and that's okay. On the next exhale, we'll roll the chin back to the chest and then all the way around in some very slow, controlled neck circles, feeling every one of the 360 degrees that make up that circle. We'll do a few in one direction, noticing if there are any sticky spots, any feelings of tightness, of constriction, and accepting that and saying, that's how it is right now. And then once you do one more nice, gentle circle in that direction, when you get back to where you started, when the chin comes to the chest, linger here for a breath. And we'll do the same thing in the opposite direction. Again, really feeling into all 360 degrees of that neck circle. We don't need to push or strive. We don't need to do the best neck circles or the biggest neck circles. And we're certainly not looking to do the fastest neck circles. We're just meeting the neck where it is and observing anything that feels a bit difficult or not optimal. And just saying, oh, I have so much compassion for you, neck. You're carrying my very heavy head around all day long. And then when you get back to that initial position, that chin to chest position, you might put the hands on the neck if this feels good, and give yourself a little massage. And if the two hands together, that doesn't work for everyone. So you might actually cross one hand over to the opposite side. That can work better for some people. So maybe you do one at a time. And for some people, the dexterity or the finger strength isn't quite there. So in that case, you can simply add some pressure. You can simply press into the spots of your neck that feel like they need a little bit of TLC. Breathing into those muscles. Relaxing the shoulders away from the ears. Maybe stretching the jaw a little bit. Sometimes when our teeth are so firmly together, that can actually add tension into the neck. And you might work your way all the way up towards the ears, into that space where you can feel the skull attaches to the neck. Sometimes putting a little bit of pressure or massage right along the base of the skull feels really nice. And you can't really hurt yourself as long as you're being mindful. So, as always, the feeling of stretching, the feeling of very slight discomfort, not a problem. If anything develops into pain or into something that feels sharp, stop what you're doing, ease out of it, reassess, come back slowly. And you might want to give some TLC to the front of the neck. We don't always think about massaging the front of the neck, but there are a lot of muscles underneath the jaw. And I wouldn't recommend pressing right on the center, but down the left and the right sides. That can also be a really lovely place to just add some touch all the way down to the breastbones, to the clavicle. And then if there's anywhere else, anything else that would feel good in your body, if it's more movement, great. Maybe it's twisting. We didn't really do a lot of twisting with the neck. If it's more neck circles, if it is more massage, if it is just finding some stillness, whatever it is, ask your body what would feel nourishing. Sometimes less is more. Sometimes slow and steady actually produces a better feeling, more capacity in the long run. So just take your time here. Give yourself whatever you need. And then whenever you're ready, refeather your nest. So again, that might mean adjusting how your hips are or where you're sitting, the way in which you're sitting. This might be the opportunity to go from sitting to reclining or to lying down or whatever would be best for your body. Defying expectations and truly tapping into what you need today. You might close your eyes, or you might find a drishti, a point of focus. And we'll look to quiet everything down. Find the breath and make the breath as easy, as slow, as gentle as possible. Maybe the belly moves, but slightly. Maybe the chest rises and falls, but just a little bit. Maybe you can feel the breath in the nostrils and the sinuses, but it's a whisper. It's not a torrent. Find some stillness in the body. Relax the hands and feet. And maybe set an intention for yourself. My intention today will be I listen to my body. This is a difficult thing for many of us, myself included. You might have another intention. You might have something that you've been working with for a long time, or something that's popped into your head today, something you would like to experience more of. Set it in present tense as if it has already happened. Repeat it a few times, either out loud or quietly in your head. Send it out into the universe. Let the universe help conspire to make it so. I listen to my body. And then we'll do the listening, and we'll start with the heartbeat. And you might be able to hear it or feel it, or you might be able to visualize it. That double beat, boom, 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 boom. Allowing the heart to be pumping at a gentle, easy pace. Doesn't have to work too hard. Relaxing into what's underneath you. And then listening to your heart emotionally. Does it have a suggestion or a desire that it wants to share with you? And you thank it for sharing that. Give some gratitude for your heart. And then we'll listen to the gut. Bring your attention to the belly. And it's possible you can hear the gut moving. Or maybe you can visualize the stomach, the intestines, digestion happening. You might be able to feel the organs shifting as you breathe in and the belly rises, and as you breathe out and the belly sinks. And then you might listen to the emotion of the belly. Does your gut have some intuition, some inkling, some suggestion for you, something that it would like to share? And then we'll move the attention to the throat center. And we'll listen to the throat, and you might be able to audibly hear something. Maybe you deliberately swallow a few times. I'll invite you to join me in 3 rounds of Brahmari breath. This is the bumblebee breath. It can be gentle, it doesn't have to be loud. It's just a gentle inhale through the nose and a hum through pursed lips. Feeling the vibration in the throat. And when you've run out of breath, take another one in through the nose and hum through the mouth. And one more like this in your own time. There is absolutely no rush. And then you might listen to the throat, to this center of voice. Is there something that your throat center would like you to say? Is there something that has been unsaid? Or something that you need to say to yourself? Perhaps something you need to say to yourself and to others. Listen and see if something comes up for you. And then finally, we'll work our way up to the third eye and even back a bit into the middle of the head, into the brain. You might move the jaw a bit. You might hear something in the ears. But more likely, it's easier if you listen to the chatter. Often the brain has an awful lot to say, and sometimes it's useful and other times it's silly. Is there something useful that you can find in the chatter? Something that taps into your intuition? Something perhaps that you know, but maybe haven't leaned into? Something you've pushed aside or put on the back burner that maybe it's time to bring to the forefront? And I'll invite you to take a nice deep inhale in. Let it all go. Slowly start to bring some movement back into your body in whatever way would feel nice. Maybe it's back into the neck, or maybe it's the extremities. Maybe it's a big stretch, or maybe it's something very subtle. And when you're ready, if your eyes are closed, you can open your eyes. Thanks for practicing with me today.